One of the most popular mechanic when it comes to parkour mechanics is climbing walls. As well, this is one of the most popular mechanics in Assassin's Creed. And in today's video we are going to learn how to climb ledges and walls. And it is going to be really smooth. So let's see how I did it. Alright, so let's start by going a little bit into the event graph of our character. Here what we're going to do is that we are going to get event begin play and an input action. So let's create one real quick. Let's go to edit, project settings, wait a little bit to load, then let's go to input, and here action mappings, create one, give it a name, mine is jump, and it is bound to my spacebar. Back into our character, we are going to get our character movement in the graph, and we are going to set plane constraint enabled. This is going to let us use another useful node a little bit later in the tutorial, and I'm going to explain it then. Then from pressed, so from the input action from pressed, we are going to get a function once again which comes with the engine, so it is launch character. We are going to set here on the z-axis, for me that's going to be 1000 units, and let's see if we are going to be able to jump, and as you can see it is working. One thing that you can do as well is just get the default jump function, but I prefer using the launch character. Alright, now let's create a line trace real quick. So we're going to get a line trace by channel. We're going to plug this in the launch character. And here in my viewport, I'm going to have an arrow, which is going to come from somewhere about the center of my character, as you can see. So I'm just going to drag that arrow in my event graph, going to get a world location. Okay, let's straighten this up. I'm going to plug this in the start. I'm going to get from the body arrow once again the forward vector. Going to multiply this with the float. So vector multiplied with float. Let's say 50 units. And the reason for that is because we want to be really close to the wall. If we would do this line trace from the camera, we would need a lot more units here. So now let's add these two vectors. And this is going to set the orientation and the location of our line trace. Let's set the draw debug type to for duration. And now what we want to do is to check if we hit something or not. That is going to be represented by a red dot by default at the end of our line trace, as you can see. If you're going to change the trace color as well, the color of the dot is going to be changed. So if we hit something, we are going to set plane constraint to normal. So let's just put here on the X and on the Y the value 1, and let me explain. So here at the event begin play, we set the set plane constraint enabled to be true. That is going to let us use this node, which is going to restrict our movement on the X and on the Y axis. That means that if we're going to go on the top, here you're going to see that I have a green and a red arrow, and the Z is going to be this blue one, which we aren't going to be able to see pretty well, and that is because it is going to represent the up and down vectors. Now we are going to get our character movement, or we can just drag it from this one, and we are going to set gravity scale to 0, and that is because we don't want to fall while we are going to climb. And then here we are going to do a line trace. So add line trace, not line trace but a timeline. This is going to be called, let's say, launch character. We're going to play from start every time, and this line trace, not line trace once again, this timeline is going to make sure that we are going to get launched every frame, every second. Alright, so we are going to have here for the length 2 seconds. We are going to get from update launch character once again, as we did for the jumping part. And then the launch velocity is going to be, let's say, 250 units, and we are going to override the z-axis. Alright, let me drag this to the left. And now let's see if we are going to be able to climb. So as you can see, it is working, but we are not going to stop once we are going to go above the ledge. And once I'm going to let off my spacebar, we are not going to stop as well. So what we want to do is from the released part, we are going to copy this. And we are going to set this to their default values. So for the X and for the Y, this is going to be 0. And for the gravity scale, you just go into your character movement, search for gravity scale, and for me the default is 2. I think by default it is 8. Alright, so let's see if this is working now. Right, so it seems that it is working. Okay, but there's still an error. We are still going to go a little bit in the air after I'm going to release it, as you can see. So what we'll need to do is to get from the set gravity scale, we're going to go to stop the line trace. So this way we are not going to fly anymore. We are not going to get launched anymore. And as well, we can copy this once again and plug this from finished. So once this line trace is going to finish, we are going to reset the plane constraint normal, and as well we are going to set the gravity scale to be back to 2. So let's see if this is working now without releasing the spacebar. So as you can see, it is working. But now there's a problem. We can get over the ledge and we're not going to stop climbing, and that is really unrealistic. So let's see how we can fix that. First we're going to create here a custom event, and let's call this stop climbing. Right, and here we are going to copy the line trace once again, because that's exactly what we want, with the exact same values. But instead of having this arrow, let's go into our viewport and let's create another arrow, and for me that is going to be located at the bottom of my character. And that is because if this would be anywhere here above it, my character would fall before reaching the ledge. So we are going to get that arrow once again, as I said, plug this in the target. Let's compile. Everything is working just fine. Let's go from the return value. We are going to get a branch. This is going to be the condition. And now what we want to do, so the logic is, if we are not going to hit anything with this line trace, we want to fall. So from here we are going to do a sequence, and that is because we first want to stop the line trace, right? And then we want to copy this and set it once again here. Alright, now that we have everything set up, what we are going to do is that we are going to call this custom event. So let's go, after we set the gravity scale to be 0, we're going to get a set timer by function name. And by the way, set timer by function names accept custom events as well. So let's just copy the name of our custom event, plug this in event function. So function name, we are going to set the time to 0.02 seconds. So now this function is going to get looped every 0.02 seconds, as I said. And from the return value, we are going to promote this to a variable, and let's call this stop climbing custom event handle. Alright, and that's a pretty long name. Alright, and now after we are going to release it, we want to check if this handle is valid or not. If it is not going to be valid, we won't be able to access information or anything else from it, which is going to result in errors. So if it is going to be valid, we are going to clear and invalidate timer by handle, and after that we are going to stop the timeline, and even if this is false, we are going to stop the timeline. Alright, then we are going to do the same from finished. Let's just copy this. Okay, and we are going to do the same here, and this should be it. Let's see if this is working. So this is my character, as I said, and as you can see, now you can get on top of the ledge and you're going to have no problems at all. Let's see if we can climb this. So we are not going to be able to climb, and that is because our timeline is too short. So let's make this 4 seconds and let's see if this is working or not. Alright, we are climbing. and as you can see, I managed to climb this wall. Alright, this is pretty much all for today's tutorial. I hope that you enjoyed it, and if you did, don't forget to leave a thumbs up, and if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with new videos. Thanks for watching, and I'm going to catch you in the next one. Goodbye.